It's ZoTime. Welcome to the ZoTime show presented by HoopsNBrews.com. I will be your host for the night, Daniel Beltz. Now go ahead and, if you haven't already, go ahead and follow on at ZoTime Podcast on Twitter, SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and all of that. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and follow Hoops and Brews on those same platforms. Also, make sure you subscribe to their YouTube channel as well for all of your NBA needs. And finally, if you haven't already done so, and if you want to support our brand, go ahead and go to HoopsNBrews.com and hit up the merch section. Check out the new ZoTime merch that was just put on there, as well as the new Hoops and Brews stuff that was put on there as well. Get yourself some shit. And if you do buy some ZoTime merch, just hit me up on Twitter. Let me know so I can give you a shout out, and then probably have you on future podcasts as well, just so like if you fuck with us, we'll fuck with you, kind of like that dynamic. And just thanks for all the love that you guys have shown so far on the Twitter as well. It's cool interacting with all of you guys about Lakers basketball, since we always have something to talk about and our future looks bright. So this will be a continuation for many years to come, and it's just going to be fun every day talking with you guys about how we're doing, how we look for the future, and just it'll be fun when we finally make the playoffs in years to come, and we can look back at the 2018 season we had, or realize how horrible we were after Kobe retired, and just all of that. Anyways, for the new listeners out there that are hearing this on the Nothing But Net radio station on Dash Radio, this is a show that talks about everything Lakers. And I noticed that lately I've been very biased on our young players, because I just show favoritism to them because they are our young core, and those are the people that get to be on the team for years to come. And they also just show a ton of potential and promise, and I'm just going to hype them up as much as I can, because the rest of NBA Twitter likes to shit on them. This isn't a slight at the vets that we have, because lately, Brook Lopez and KCP, they've been hooping like crazy. They're like playing their best basketball in the months of February and March for us, but like I've been told that I don't speak up on them, so I'm going to try to give some love to those players later in the episode. I've also been told that I'm one of the harshest critics that IT has, but that's just because I haven't seen him play that well for us. And I call it like I see it with veterans, because they've had X amount of years experience, and if they aren't playing well, they've already had time to improve their game, and they should just be able to play a certain way. And that's what Brook Lopez and KCP have done. They have been vets. They are playing insane down the stretch to end the season, unlike IT. So that's why I'm a little bit harsher on IT than I am some of the young guys that are going through slumps or whatever. But if you realize and follow basketball and fuck with basketball as much as the Hoops and Brews brand does, you'll understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. Also, this is a podcast that will speak about future trades and free agents I'd love the Lakers to sign. And also, probably in the summer months when the NBA slows down just a bit, this will be a podcast that explores past Laker history. I'm going to start that today, but in the summer I'll be doing more of it. Basically like Kobe's history, Magic, Shaq, the whole 9 yards. And today's podcast, or show I should say, will be about Derek Fisher, the 0.4 hero. And why I'm speaking up on Derek Fisher is, for whatever reason, there was a lot of Derek Fisher slander during the week. And I do not get that, because first of all, I don't know why Derek Fisher was in your heads, but hey, it is what it is. Don't disrespect number 2, and just put some respect in the guy's name. Now, being part of the Hoops and Brews brand, we like to drink a bit before we do these podcasts. We are not sponsored by any of these beers, but I do have a personal favorite sometimes when I drink. It's the Lagunitas 12th of Never. So hey, Lagunitas, if you can, send us your beer, we will drink it, and we will promote the shit out of it. It's just one of the smoothest tasting beers I've had, so if this ever gets to you, Lagunitas, send us some shit. We'll give you all the contact information you need. Just send us that shit. Now let's go ahead and get into the random Lakers stat of the week. And if you've been paying attention to the Los Angeles Lakers season, you will know this stat. But since January 1st, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is shooting 46.2% from three. That is spectacular. That is, I can't even believe we have a player shooting 46.2% from three for basically a 3-month stretch. That is consistency. That is efficient. That is amazing. That's knocking down almost 1 out of 2 shots from three every single time. And it's not like he's only taking like a small sample size. He at least shoots 5 threes per game. He's knocking down 2.3 or 2.5 threes per game since January 1st, being mad efficient. And like, this is going to turn into basically a KCP segment, because like, I don't think he gets enough chatter as a Lakers player because we only look at the young players, and I'm at fault for that. I understand that. But again, KCP is also young. I believe he's 24 or 25. And he's not taking that many shots, but when he does, it's basically from three, and he's being efficient. And so since that January 1st time, KCP's in kind of a weird but amazing statistical category. So players that have averaged at least 3 threes per games attempted, he ranks second in efficiency for those threes. The only player higher than him is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's basically almost an MVP. He was a Finals MVP last year. He is a known knockdown three-point shooter, and he's one of the best players in the NBA game this season. So for KCP to be up there with the likes of Kevin Durant, he's better than, since January 1st, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Joe Ingles, all these knockdown three-point shooters you hear. KCP has shot better from three than those kind of players. And it's not like it's a short sample size. It's 34 games. KCP has been hooping from three. And it's nice to see, because he had a rough December. That's when he went through that rough patch with his legal case, spending days in jail, not being able to travel on the road. And I believe for October and November, that weighed on him as well. Like, he knew that there was something that wasn't settled that he was going to have to go through. So I just feel like that had an impact on his overall efficiency and how he played the game, because in the beginning of the season, he was throwing up some wild shit. He wasn't playing within the flow of the offense. He was taking just horrific shot attempts, and it was obvious his mind wasn't right. He wasn't there. He wasn't just there. But since January 1st, he's one of the best shooters in the league if you throw out the first 3 months, which I think you should. I think we should just forget the month of December as Laker fans as well. We went through some things, and KCP was going through some things, and we were going through some things, man. And side note, anytime I say going through some things, I think of Big Sean. Shout out to Big Sean. He's a Detroit native, and we're about to tip off against the Pistons right now, so I'm going to give a shout out to Big Sean, but hey, fuck your Pistons. I hope we beat you. Anyways, God, I hope we beat the Pistons. That 0-4 final still haunts me just a tad bit. And so through that month of December where KCP went through his shit, Lonzo also missed time during that month. He was battling, I believe it was I think he had a sore shoulder. I believe it was that. And in February, he missed it because of his knee. But Lonzo missed time during that month. Ingram missed time during that month. I think I was at the game in LA when it was the Grizzlies and the Lakers, and both Lonzo and Ingram were out. So it was just bad basketball, and like, our team struggled. I think even Brook Lopez missed some time in December. So we just had KCP going through his legal shit, 2 of our starters missing time, Brook Lopez missing time. So we were a bad basketball team in December. I think that's when we went on a 9-game losing streak in the month of December, or we started it in December. But since then, the Lakers have been, I believe, above 500 since January, or it might be like January 10th, and KCP has legit been a huge reason why we have turned it around. In December, I wanted Josh Hart to take all of KCP's minutes, and I was unfair to make that assessment, and I was wrong. KCP has completely outplayed Josh Hart since that time, and I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong about KCP. I thought he was going to continue that horrendous shot selection throughout the year, so I was like, hey, Josh Hart takes shots in rhythm within the flow of the offense, and KCP isn't, so let's get the guy that plays team basketball over the guy that can't. But since that time, he's sort of like, he's been the perfect mold for what the Lakers need at the two-guard position. Next to Lonzo Ball, we need a knockdown shooter from three, which KCP has been. And we need someone that's also a good defender on the defensive side of the ball, which KCP has. Sometimes, I would say recently, KCP has been a bit lazy on the defensive side, but that's just because he's playing close to 40 minutes per game, so he's probably just hella tired, and he expends so much of his energy on the offensive side of the ball to where on defense sometimes he gets lost just not rotating over because he's tired. And like, legit, there's no excuse for that because we don't have any players that can play. We have Ingram out, Hart out, Corey Brewer left, Isaiah Thomas is probably done for the season since he's getting that second opinion on his hip. We also have Luol Deng, who would never normally get minutes, but he's also out because of a sore left ankle. So we don't really have options at the two-guard position unless you want to play a point guard there, and we struggle when we put a point guard at the two spot and run a three-point guard lineup. So, I mean, I can't be that upset with him with showing lack of effort on the defensive side of the ball because we just don't have enough healthy bodies. When Josh Hart and Brandon Ingram come back, I expect his defensive energy to be 100% the entire time. And just those two players together on the defensive side of the ball, Lonzo Ball and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, they're a pest. KCP is able to guard you from the perimeter, and Lonzo Ball plays perfect help defense with playing the passing lanes and whatnot. And he also has great reaction speed to when he gets beat, and so does KCP. So they're just two players that their hands are always moving on defense, and they both get a lot of steals, and it's just insane. Since January 1st, KCP is averaging 13.8 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 2.2 assists during that stretch. Some might look at those numbers and say they're pedestrian, but he's not taking that many shots. He's doing exactly what we ask, and he's just being a perfect team player. He's also giving us 1.4 steals per game. Like I said, we steal the ball a lot because we have two guards that can steal the ball like crazy, like Gary Payton level of efficiency with stealing the ball. One of the best things that I like about KCP is he averages more assists than turnovers, and he also averages more steals than turnovers. He's taking the ball away more than he's giving it to you, and he's also setting you up more than he's setting the other team up with turnovers. So he's efficient. Has a positive assist to turnover ratio and also a positive steal to turnover ratio. That's basically what you want for a player that doesn't handle the ball that much, because it's easy to turn the ball over in the NBA. With a lot of like just mishandles and the opposing players just stealing the ball from you. It's easy to get some turnovers per game, but it's just nice that he has more assists and steals. We also need to remember KCP is only 25. He's not that old. He only has like 5 to 6 years. I think 4 to 5 years of experience in the NBA. He's still, I wouldn't say he's a finished product, but we kind of know what the mold is for him. And he can grow a little bit in the NBA, not a ton, but I like what he gives us as a shooting guard. There's not a lot of shooting guards in the league that I would take over him. Like the obvious ones are like James Harden, Klay Thompson, Jimmy Butler if you count him as a shooting guard. Who else? I mean, CJ McCollum if you count him as a shooting guard. He's more of a combo guard, but Bradley Beal. Like the top tier guys, yes, you would take over him, but after you get to 12, 13, he might be the 12th or 13th best shooting guard in the league this season. He might even be higher. I just haven't gone through the whole top 30 shooting guards in the league list yet, but I wouldn't mind bringing him back for next season. I don't want to bring him back on a long-term deal, but if we strike out on Paul George, LeBron, DeMarcus, I at least want him back next season. I believe he can help us going forward. He's basically what we need at the 2 guard next to Lonzo. What Laker fans want to see is Paul George next to Lonzo or Klay Thompson next to Lonzo. That's the ideal 3 and D guy who can score and defend better than KCP. But getting those players away from their team will be tough. So, hey, we have KCP right now. We know what we have with them. We've seen him turn it around. So I wouldn't be mad for like a 1-year kind of deal like we did this season. So I don't know. I've just really changed my mind on Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Our first order of business this offseason should be to make sure we re-sign Julius Randle. But man, we definitely do need a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope type player at the 2 guard position for us. And realistically, though, it's going to be tough money-wise and also year-wise. I only want him on a 1-year deal until we can replace him with someone better. If that never happens, we can either keep signing him to 1-year deals or eventually just have Josh Hart take over and be our starting shooting guard. But after the stretch of play we've seen KCP have, we would definitely miss his production going forward next season, as we are still a very young team. And if we do not get someone to replace him, I wouldn't say we're going to fall off because we lose KCP, but we'll have to find other ways to score and defend in ways that we have been currently. And I think I've mentioned this earlier in this podcast, but why I've turned the corner so much on KCP is his shot selection. He was shooting stupid shit to begin the season. He was pulling up from like 28 feet after taking a couple dribbles, which was just ludicrous for him to even try. He took a lot of shots off the dribble and like the mid-range. He tried to create for himself, and that's what KCP is not. He's not a guy that can create for himself. It doesn't work. He's a guy that needs to be set up or pull up in transition. That's his game right there. He can also come off screens and catch and shoot. He's not a player that can play iso ball. He's not a guy that is going to finish around the rim after a drive. He can be set up for a layup. He can be set up for a dunk, but he's not a player that's going to, hey, give it to KCP, he'll get you a bucket. That's not how it goes with him. He is a guy that needs to be set up, and since we've kind of changed how we feature him, he's been playing better basketball and he's been more efficient. He's taken open shots and the results speak for itself. 46.2% from 3. I'm going to keep saying that number because even I myself can't believe he's shooting 46.2% from 3. Why I think we turn this corner with him is when Lonzo was out, we went on that 9-game losing streak, and that's basically when KCP was struggling a lot. He was having to take more shots and kind of create for himself. So we took Tyler Ennis out of the starting lineup and we put Brandon Ingram at point guard. When KCP has a point guard giving him the ball in the positions that make him successful, he does well. So if Lonzo or Ingram are in the game with KCP, normally he gets easier or better looks, and it's just he's a more efficient player. When both of those guys are out, the kind of point guard responsible players, that's when KCP struggles. So we know what we have with KCP now. We know what we have player-wise to make him successful. So if we just continue with that, I mean, I believe Kentavious Caldwell-Pope will just end the season strong, and that's just one side of the ball. The other side of the ball that I see with him helping our team out is defensively. Another year of Lonzo Ball and KCP is very intriguing to me. Also, just because they're, like I said, they're very handsy on defense and they just play the passing lanes and they know what to do. If Ingram continues his upward trend on D, I think those 3 perimeter defenders would be crazy. We would just have length, we would have active hands, we would have smart players, and for lineups when we go small, KCP can help Josh Hart just basically become a better defender. They can also share the court together as long as Lonzo or Ingram are on the floor with those 2 players at the same time. And I just think he gels well with our younger players. He's not egotistic. He's very much a team-first player, and I think he would welcome mentoring Josh Hart, Lonzo on the defensive side of the ball, as well as three-point consistency, because that's what Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has shown. And hey, if this is KCP's only season as a Laker, man, dude, I thank you. You single-handedly won us the game against the Kings when you became Contravious. You've played a lot of minutes and haven't complained. With Ingram and Hart out, you could have kind of folded, knowing that you need a lot of minutes and knowing that it's a contract season for you. So, like, maybe the additional workload would hurt your efficiency, but you played through it. You took advantage of the opportunities that were presented to you, and you just play within your role. You're a great teammate, and you've been a great professional, even going through some shit this season. So, hey, if this is your only season as a Laker, best of luck to you next year, but would love to see you in the purple and gold if we strike out on the other max free agents that we want to get to. Now, the next topic I want to get to, which is basically the first throwback segment I've ever done, is going to be talking about Derek Fisher. And like I said, I'm bringing this segment of Derek Fisher because I saw a lot of slander on him. It was a lot of true shooting percentage slander that I saw of Derek Fisher, also point total wise, but this segment will be called Derek Fisher is a Hall of Gamer. Like I said, he will be referred to as a Hall of Gamer, not Hall of Famer. Us Laker fans know that he will never make the Hall of Fame. He will never have his jersey retired, and he's just, like, it's obvious that he wasn't the most talented, but we're not going to take that level of disrespect that NBA Twitter showed D-Fish this week, because he was so important for this franchise winning the additional 5 rings that he helped win the Los Angeles Lakers. And, like, it's just weird that these people came for D-Fish to begin with. It's not like he's ever, besides Matt Barnes, I don't understand what he's done to make NBA Twitter hate him. And I mean, you can say whatever the fuck you want to about his basketball abilities, but the dude's a 5-time champion. Like, you can't take that away from him. He has that for the rest of his life. And it's not like he was a bench player that just fucking ring chased. No, he was a starter in the playoffs for 4 years. I mean, not 4 years, but he was a starter for 4 of those championships. So he was playing 30 minutes a game, helping us win a ring. And the other ring that he got came with him playing every single game in the playoffs as well. So he didn't just fucking sit the bench. He didn't just have to thank Kobe and Shaq for winning him those rings. No, he hooped when he had the opportunity to hoop. He wasn't that efficient. He might not have been the most talented, which obviously he wasn't, but to discredit this man's resume, to discredit this man's just overall impact that he had as a Los Angeles Laker is foolish. You're an idiot if you don't think that Derek Fisher was a crowd favorite, and it was dope to see him in a Lakers uniform. Now, this term Hall of Gamer, which I might not be the first person to use it, but I haven't seen anyone else use it, so I'll just kind of go over what I mean by Hall of Gamer. It's a term I will use for players that were starters, that will never get the Hall of Fame vote, but were important role players on that team that won shit, and that team that basically just dominated, that just wreaked havoc on the league, but the players that don't get to shine. Some of those other players that are Hall of Gamers are Robert Horry, Tony Allen, and Bruce Bowen. Just so you can kind of get the idea of what I'm speaking about, because those players were very important to the teams winning championships, but they will never get into the Hall of Fame. They will never have their number retired. It's just they impacted more than just actual stats. They brought a certain level of toughness, certain level of defense, and just a certain level of leadership that other players didn't bring to the table. I mean, you think of Tony Allen, you think of grit and grind, you think of Robert Horry, you think of clutch shot, clutch shot, clutch shot. You think of Bruce Bowen as just a pest on defense. For the Spurs fans, they call him the Kobe stopper, which was inaccurate, but whatever. And we know Derek Fisher was honestly not that talented as a basketball player, skill-wise. He really couldn't do much on the NBA court. But his hustle, his heart, and his leadership maximized every single talent that he did have. He was able to... So some players fall short of their NBA talent, and some players just exceed that, and that's what Derek Fisher did. He maximized his entire time on the NBA court. Like I said, Derek Fisher never averaged more than 13 points a season. He never averaged more than 4.3 assists, and he never averaged more than 3 rebounds a game. So if you combine all of his best stats, it's 13, 4, and 3. That's a very average NBA season for a starter. He never shot over 50% in a season. So I understand why you stat nerds love to trash Derek Fisher and his contributions to the game of basketball and just basically discredit what he provided for the Los Angeles Lakers for winning titles. But if you understand the game of basketball, there's just some players where their contributions to a team aren't measured by stats, and that's D-Fish. And honestly, with Derek Fisher, he's one of my favorite Los Angeles Lakers players of all time, just because when I did play basketball, I was never the most talented, but I did give 100% every single time. That's what I believe Derek Fisher gave. So for a lot of those people that just give 110%, you resonate with D-Fish, and that's why you just look at him as a crowd favorite. And I mean, he is one of the only players that Kobe trusted. He's the only one that like Kobe looked to for advice. He also looked to him for like leadership in the fourth quarters and like whatnot. So you choose shooting percentage people just won't recognize what Derek Fisher gave us, and man, that's sad that you're not going to give credit to just the Hall of Gamer, like I said. And also another funny kind of thing is when the Lakers needed a clutch shot, and this is going to sound fucking crazy, I trusted Derek Fisher as much as I trusted Kobe with that game-winning shot. Like I don't understand how Derek Fisher was as clutch as he was, but I knew whenever Derek Fisher was going up with that shot, it was going in. And it's just, I can't say enough of what he did for the Los Angeles Lakers. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked right now. I'm trying to watch the Pistons and Lakers game while I do this, and it's a bit tough doing that, but I'm going to try to fight through it. And man, some of my favorite memories growing up as a Lakers fan came off seeing D-Fish hit a clutch shot or being physical as hell with an opposing player. He provided that playoff toughness that we needed. Like, basically, after that 2008 finals, we were given the term soft because of Pau Gasol and how we let the Celtics kind of manhandle us in the 2008 finals. But that 2009 playoff series against the Houston Rockets, I mean, Derek Fisher never let some punk shit happen to this team. He absolutely leveled Luis Scola, who is a flopping-ass motherfucker, in the 2009 Western Conference Finals. We lost Game 1, I believe. So, like, we needed to set a tone for the rest of the series, show the Rockets that we weren't going to go away after losing Game 1. And, I mean, that little, what was it, like a forearm to the chest where Scola just flopped, that was one of the crazy moments from that series. And it was just insane because Derek Fisher's, like, at best 6'2". Like, he maybe even 6'1". He can't really dunk. Luis Scola's like 6'10", 6'11", and Derek Fisher just leveled his ass. And that kind of showed that we were a nasty team. We had the toughness to basically beat whoever was put in front of us. And man, we needed a person on that team to do it because Kobe couldn't do it because he was our best player. So if we lose our best player for a game because of a hard foul, that'll just look silly. But we were able to lose. I don't think we lost Derek Fisher, but his style of play, like, if he was tossed for that game before that hard foul, like, you could understand why, like, he did it, and we wouldn't hurt that much on the court with him being out. So just Derek Fisher helped us set that tone, and he was the only person that Kobe listened to. And like I said, a lot of Derek Fisher's game, you just can't measure by stats. And I was talking to my younger brother about who I see Derek Fisher as for just a certain player. And I think he is basically, before Ben Roethlisberger won a ring, I think he is Big Ben of the NBA. Because the first 2 rings that Big Ben won as a NFL quarterback weren't because of him, but he did the little things when you needed him to do it. So, I mean, that was what makes you a champion, is when you're willing to do the little things to make sure you win games. Like that tackle he had against the Colts in the playoffs, I mean, that saved their playoff chances and basically got them to the Super Bowl. So it's just, Derek Fisher is that person. He's that person willing to go the extra mile just to ensue that your team wins. And like, it was never pretty with Derek Fisher as a point guard. He couldn't create for himself. He couldn't create for others. He wasn't that athletic. He was undersized. But when it came down to winning time, that man was winning. Like, he knew what to do and how to win a game. So, which is why he will always be a Hall of Gamer to me. And legit, like, I'll go over some of the memories right now, but there's just a ton. So, first off, when you think of Derek Fisher, you think of 0.4, which is one of the luckiest and also one of the craziest shots I've ever seen go in a fucking basket. And it's also hilarious because in a game that featured Kobe, Shaq, Karl Malone, and Gary Payton, the fucking Laker to win that game was Derek Fisher. That is 4 Hall of Famers right there. And the dude that fucking won us the game was Derek fucking Fisher. Like, that's an answer that you could probably give at a pub quiz, to where they say, hey, the 2004 Lakers had a quote-unquote super team. Who was the man that hit the 0.4 shot? And a lot of casuals won't know. Like, a lot of casuals won't know the history of Derek Fisher. They might say Kobe, Shaq, Peyton, or Malone, but they'll be wrong because it was D. Fish. That shot gave us a 3-2 lead against the Spurs, which got us basically back to the NBA Finals that year. It wasn't the winning shot to send us to the Finals, but I believe we won that series in 6, and then we went on to, I think, face the Timberwolves, and then we played the Pistons in the Finals. That shot did not result in a ring, but like, it at least prevented the Spurs from winning another, and I believe it'll always be remembered as one of the craziest buzzer beaters in playoff history. And it's almost like 0.4 became a motto for Derek Fisher, because no matter what was thrown at Derek Fisher or however dire the situation looked, Derek Fisher would respond. If you think about just basketball, you don't think you'll ever be able to get off a shot with 0.4 seconds, yet it happened, and we won. When you look at Derek Fisher, you don't ever think you'd be seeing an NBA basketball player, yet he was a starter and he won. If we look at his overall playoffs, the 2001 playoffs were probably his best. And regarding Derek Fisher, I will never talk about the regular season bullshit because, hey, I'm not going to talk about a player that only averaged 13 in the regular season, but if you can give me that in the playoffs when the game intensifies, I will talk about you, because he averaged 13.4 points a game during the 2001 playoffs, and he shot over 51% from 3. That's 1 out of 2 shots. It's basically, like I said, how KCP has been over the past 30 games or so. And he also dropped 28 points on the San Antonio Spurs in the, I think it was Game 4 of the 2001 Western Conference Finals. So, I mean, Derek Fisher had a great game, scored 28 points. I don't even know what his career high is, but that might be close, because that man couldn't score that much, but he got hot from 3 in that game. He also dropped 18 points in the deciding Game 5 against the 76ers in the finals. I believe he was 6-7 from 3 that game. So it's just, Derek Fisher was hot as hell during the 2001 finals, and it's kind of why we went on that insane 15-1 fucking stretch that we did. So just put respect on the dude that wore number 2 that came out of Arkansas Little Rock. I believe that's the college he went to. And like, another thing that just shows you how much toughness, how much game Derek Fisher had is that, what season was that? 2007 was when he rushed back to that playoff game against the Warriors, I believe, when his daughter was dealing with eye cancer. And I mean, that's a serious bout for someone in your family to go through, and he was able to get to the game by halftime, I believe. And he hooped when he came back in that second half. It was one of the most emotional things I've seen on the basketball court in a while. And he hit a clutch dagger 3 to basically seal that game, and he also locked up Baron Davis to force overtime in the 4th quarter. I believe the Warriors had a chance to win it, and D-Fish locked him up. Overtime happened, and then he hit that clutch dagger in the overtime period. But when I think about Derek Fisher, those memories come second to basically what I will always remember about Derek Fisher is that second stint that he had. And when I say second stint, that's the second time that he was with the Lakers. And it's only 2 games where if you need to look at Derek Fisher's legacy, the only 2 games you need to look at is, I believe it was Game 4 in the 2009 NBA Finals and Game 3 of the 2010 NBA Finals. And what I've learned about the NBA is in the finals, your stars can win you 3 games. Like Kobe, Shaq, Kobe Powell, they can win you 3 games. Your role players are going to need to win 1 game for you to win the NBA Finals. And if you had to give me a role player, give me Derek Fisher every single time to win me a game in the finals, because he came up big when the spotlight needed him most. And that's just one of the nicest things you can say about a role player, is to have that much confidence in his overall game. And shoot that, Lonzo. Damn it. You passed it to KCP. Bucket. All right. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Anyways, just those 2 games of his finals career, just insanity. So he hit those 2 amazing shots against the Orlando Magic. So he hit that 3 to send it to overtime, which was crazy because I believe we inbounded the ball to Kobe, then he passed it to someone else, and then that person gave it to D-Fish, and it wasn't like it was an open 3. I believe Jameer Nelson was right in his dish. D-Fish just drained it over him, and that was, God, that was just beautiful. And then he hit that shot to when Kobe passed it out to him for 3. When, I mean, a lot of the conspiracy theorists say that Kobe elbowed someone in the face when he was kicking it out, but whatever. I mean, D-Fish just drained that, and that was the go-ahead shot to win the game. It gave us a 3-1 lead and basically ensured that Kobe would have his first ring without Shaq, which is why I believe I just have that much respect for D-Fish, is because he was the guy that basically helped Kobe get over the Kobe, how does my ass taste? He just basically got, Kobe became Kobe with Derek Fisher. A lot of you people will say, well, that's ludicrous. Kobe just carried him, but Derek Fisher was there with the ups and the downs. He saw the bullshit. Derek Fisher saw everything. Derek Fisher was that basically that loyal friend that just helps you get through the rough patches to get to where you're supposed to go, and that's D-Fish. That's a leader right there. That is a point guard. That's the quarterback of your team. That's an amazing thing for D-Fish to have. And, man, that Game 3 he had basically cemented his legacy as a Laker legend against the Boston Celtics. It was a 1-1 series. We needed to win Game 3 to basically get control of the series, and that 4th quarter, Derek Fisher scored 11 points. He basically closed the game out for us. He was the leader, and it's against the fucking Celtics. We prevented them from getting title number 18 with the heroics of Derek Fisher. Derek Fisher will never be the best player, but he is a fucking hero in Lakerland. That and one play that he had over Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and I think it was Rasheed Wallace when he went coast to coast. I mean, that'll go down as one of the best Laker plays to ever happen. So I don't need you to tell me Derek Fisher's true shooting percentage. I don't need you to tell me that he never scored more than 14 points. Just, if you look at Laker history, you will see Derek Fisher hit some of the biggest shots in Laker Nation, and I don't need you to say the man's a Hall of Famer, because he's not, but he's a Hall of Gamer. So basically, going with the argument that Hoops and Brews started, give me rings over stats any day, especially if I was a starter on 4 of those championship rings. So fuck all you idiots out there that value true shooting percentage over wins. Now let's get to the next number 2, which is Lonzo Ball. Let's get to his shooting slump. It hasn't been pretty watching Lonzo shoot the ball. And after that 20-game or so stretch when it looked like Lonzo figured it out, his field goal percentage, free throw percentage, and three-point percentage have just been awful the past 3 games. He's shooting 27.1% from the field, 30.8% from the free throw line, and 14.8% from 3. Yes, that's atrocious. Yes, I think that's even worse than Marcus Smart and who is it? Andre Roberson. That's probably even worse than Cephalosha when he had his first stint with the Thunder. It's been awful watching him shoot the ball. Like, it's atrociously bad. Which is why all of you small ballers are coming out of the fucking woodworks and saying Lonzo's a bust, yada, yada, yada. like Lonzo sucks, Lonzo this, Lonzo that, and you can't get his name out of your mouth just because he's shooting badly. But again, there is more to basketball than just watching someone shoot. Like, there is way more ways to impact a game than true shooting percentage, which is what Hoops and Brews was trying to get at. So shout out to Hoops and Brews. Man, they've been fighting the good fight recently. Their main argument is fuck a true shooting percentage. Did you win or not? Did you hoop or not? Did you help your team or not? And that's basically what they got at. Instead of a percentage to measure a player, they want to know what other ways you can impact a basketball game. So, I mean, they're kind of leading a charge on showing Lonzo Ball respect, so shout out to them. And for Lonzo's rookie season, that's basically been his motto. He's not shooting the best, but he's impacting the game in other ways. And we win more with Lonzo Ball in the starting lineup than we do without him. So fuck a true shooting percentage, basically. If in 4 years Lonzo can't shoot, Laker fans will admit that he can't shoot. We're not idiots. We understand the game of basketball. It's just we're giving the rookie time to figure out his shot, figure out how to score, and figure out the game of basketball, while acknowledging he knows how to do a lot better for a lot more to the game than just shooting. And I just believe that Lonzo will figure it out, and he will be able to shoot from three. But the most worrying thing right now is his free throw percentage, because he kind of changes his shot when he shoots the free throw, and it's just, I hope he corrects that, because it seems like he's more, he's kind of scared to drive because he knows he's going to go to the free throw line and he'll most likely miss. So I believe that's affecting his game more than missing threes, which you need to watch more basketball to understand that instead of just looking at percentages. So basically, to further the true percentage shooting percent argument, if you only look at true shooting percentage to measure a player if they're efficient or not, you're missing more than 50% of the actual game. There's more to the NBA than scoring, folks. There's assists, rebounds, defense, steals, the whole 9 yards. And I don't think you guys realize that Lonzo impacts this game more than what you're willing to let on. And you small ballers out there, you like to hate on Zo. It's okay. So those 8 games where he's shooting that horrendous stretch, he's also averaging, I believe it's 8.6 rebounds, 7 assists, 2.1 steals, and a block. So he's doing everything else fine besides scoring. And other NBA players have been praised for giving you those exact same numbers regardless of scoring. Like I said, I believe like Draymond Green's not shooting that well this year, but he's also giving you rebounds, assists, defense. Roberson was doing the exact same thing. Smart was doing the exact same thing, and you're praising them. But since Lonzo was in a Lakers jersey and since his dad speaks crazy, all you lame-ass idiots want to call the kid a bust, and it's funny, like legit. You guys have some weird Laker hatred, and you don't realize that a lot of rookies and just former rookies have struggled from the field in their first year. You also just don't realize that they figured it out after the rookie season, like how to shoot, and the players that didn't figure out how to shoot, they figured out how to impact the game in other ways, like Rondo. I think Rondo's probably like the greatest example of how a player can impact the game without scoring, because he assists, rebounds, plays D. So, I mean, if we drafted Rajon Rondo at number 2, I'm fine with that, because, hey, Rondo got a ring, and he probably, I don't know if Rondo will be a Hall of Famer, but it'll be close because he's had a lot of 10 assist seasons, so whatever. And those of you that only look at shooting percentages to base a player, you look as dumb as Skip Bayless. Like, it's just weird where you're willing to look at what every single NBA player provides to a certain team except for Lonzo. You only care about his scoring. But us Laker fans realize a lot of you guys closed the chapter on Brandon Ingram and Julius Randle. You called them bust. You called them just horrible picks the Lakers made, yet they've made you look like idiots. So, hey, we're fine with our players shutting you up and just showing you otherwise. Also, regarding Lonzo Ball, what we've seen from him recently, more importantly, I think it was against the Memphis Grizzlies. We saw him attack the basket more. We saw him throw up a dunk. We saw him throw up some layups. We saw him throw up a mid-range jumper, and he also gave us a floater. Like, that's certain skills he hasn't shown us to begin the season, and hey, for what it's worth, he's trying. And I just watched him make a floater in the paint right now against the Pistons, so it's just, he's trying to further along his NBA game, and he's trying shit out. You can't magically get better over the course of a season with things you're not used to doing, and that's what he's going to be doing this summer, I believe. And he just threw down a dunk after getting a steal. Just watch the man play fucking basketball if you're going to critique him. He does 80% of things right. That 20%, maybe it's even more like 30%, is scoring, which he's not doing right now, but just watch him play fucking basketball. I'm tired of you lame-ass fucking idiots getting my mention saying the man can't play. Take off your dumbass goggles and watch him play basketball. This summer will be, however, very important for the advancement of his career. How serious does he take the game? How much is he willing to... You got to become uncomfortable to get comfortable, if that makes sense. Like, you have to be able to try new things and fail at those things if you're going to get better as an NBA player, which I hope he does. Let's hope he comes back a more polished... Yikes, Kuzma. Oh, God, Zubac could fucking irritate the hell out of me. But, like I said, this summer will be very important for Lonzo Ball. Now let's get to the solved case of Julius Randle. And I'm ready right now to buy myself a Julius Randle jersey. It's going to happen. The only reason why I was hesitating the past year or so, 2 years or so, is I just wasn't sure if we were going to sign him because he didn't show the flashes that he has this season. But this season, if you aren't 100% behind signing this man long-term as a Laker fan, go follow a different team. Go like the Warriors. Go like the Nets because of D'Lo. Go like someone else, because if you can't see how much better he is this season on both sides of the ball and just how much harder he plays, how much he impacts our team, you don't deserve to watch Lakers basketball, and you don't deserve to watch us when he helps lead us to the playoffs. In March, Randle is averaging 22.8 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 2.8 assists. He's shooting 57% from the field. He's efficient, putting up numbers, and he's a goddamn man amongst boys out there on the basketball court. Those stats from the power forward position is insane. We legit need, as a Laker fan base, to find a nickname for this man because he will be here a long time. He's 23 and will continue to get better. And just imagine what he looks like at the age of 27. With an improved jump shot, like, he will become an unstoppable force if he's able to just continue his upward trend as a basketball player. Now, I might get some harsh critics from this next thing I'm about to say regarding Julius Randle, but since February 1st, Julius Randle has been the third best power forward in the league. Watch the tape. You'll be able to back that up with stats, but watch the tape first. He is the third best power forward in the league since February 1st, behind Anthony Davis and LaMarcus Aldridge. It's dope seeing that because we finally have a player that's probably top 5 in his position since February 1st. That's probably like a 20-game sample size, so that's enough to make a assumption on something. It's not like a 5-game stretch or an 8-game stretch. It's 20. It's about 2 months. He's averaging 21 points, 9.4 rebounds, and 3.5 assists on 58% field goal percentage since February 1st. He's averaging more assists, more rebounds, and a higher field goal percentage than LaMarcus Aldridge. So a discussion could be made that the only power forward right now better than him is Anthony Davis, but since you people only care about points, I'll keep him at 3 just so you're happy and you can go home at night and just say, hey, points. If we do not sign Julius Randle long term, I will be very upset. He has grown a lot. He's been the longest tenured Laker. He's seen the ups and downs of this organization. He's been our most consistent Laker this season. He's been our best Lakers this season. He is our model for development, basically because he trained like a goddamn maniac over the offseason. He responded to every critique that Luke Walton had. He said, hey, get in shape, get better at finishing around the rim, play hard every single time you're on the court, and Julius Randle answered every single one of those challenges and came back a tremendous player. If he continues these numbers next season, he will be an all-star. Mark my words, he might be the first all-star that we have since Kobe. Record watch segment for the Lakers. We are now 32-40. Our playoff chances are essentially eliminated. We're playing the Pistons right now. We're up 3 entering the second quarter, so I hope we can get to 33 wins tonight. After this game, we'll have 9 games left. We have, like I said, a current game against the Pistons. I wish we had Brandon Ingram for this game. I really want Brandon Ingram back to finish the season because I feel like if he's back, we'll win more games. We probably won't get to 40 wins now after losing some of the winnable games that we had this past week. We should have beaten the Pelicans, and it's kind of shitty that we didn't, but hey, it is what it is. But we do have some easy games going forward. We play the Mavericks next, and then we also play the Kings on Easter. So those are 2 games right there to get us 34 wins. When we play the Houston Rockets at the end of the season, I believe they'll have the 1 seed locked up. So they should rest their players, like rest Chris Paul, rest James Harden. So that should give us enough to beat them. If we can't beat the Rockets without Harden and CP3, we don't deserve to win regardless. We also play the Los Angeles Clippers on the last game of the season. So if the Clippers are out of the playoffs, I believe they will tank that game so they have a better draft pick. So again, there's another game that we might come down to. Holy shit, Channing Frye's playing. There's a legit game. Nice pass, Lonzo. That's goaltending. There we go. All right, just saw Lonzo run a pick and roll and feed Channing Frye. Loved it. So again, we should be able to beat that Clippers team. Also, we face the San Antonio Spurs, and we've already beaten the Spurs twice without Kawhi Leonard. So, I mean, it's not that far-fetched for us to think that we can beat them. We also face the Timberwolves without Jimmy Butler, which is, I'm not saying it's a winnable game, but we could steal that game. So there's about 5 or 6 games right there that might get us to 38 wins. So, hey, if we do that, this season is already a success in my mind. Lonzo might be on triple-double watch tonight, too. Attaboy, Zoe, with the rebound and cross-court pass to Ennis. I swear to God, you small ballers need to watch actual NBA film. And the main thing is, with that record watch and how we finish the season, Josh Hart's coming back probably on March 30th. Brandon Ingram's coming back soon, I hope, unless we shut him down for the whole season due to that groin issue. The main thing I want the Lakers to do is just get as many wins as possible and compete in every single game. I don't care who we play, just compete, and that'll go a long way for free agents wanting to come to our team. Now, the Laker of the Week, who has been playing insane, who got over his rookie wall, is Kyle Kuzma. We're back in your state. I hope you ball out tonight. For the last 3 games, Kyle Kuzma has averaged 25 points per game. You heard that correctly. Kyle Kuzma has averaged 25 points per game. He is back to that level of hotness that he was beginning the season when he came out firing. Now he's also giving us 7.6 rebounds a game while shooting just a bit under from the field, under 50% from the field, and he is about 46% from 3, which is efficient, putting up points and just attacking the boards like a crazy man. He is over that rookie wall, and we are back to being under Kuz control. One of the best things about Kyle Kuzma is how well he gets along with Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball loves feeding him. Kyle Kuzma says he's always open, and I mean, they just have a great connection to where that's going to be a connection that's going to be here for years and years and years to come. Kyle Kuzma also shows that Mamba mentality for whatever reason Anthony Irwin doesn't like. He's a Kobe hater, but Kuzma even admits he has that Mamba mentality. He hits a lot of clutch shots, and he's reached out to Kobe to pick his brain. So, I mean, it's great to see our rookie reaching out to Kobe, just trying to pick his brain, trying to become the next Mamba per se, and it's even better that he's in a Laker jersey. I will say this every single time I talk about Kyle Kuzma. I cannot believe he fell to fucking draft pick 27. Like, just the players that were picked over him, man, I can't believe it. We got to steal. We got to steal on a cheap contract for the next 3 years after this one. And that's going to give us so much cap flexibility and able to sign other players, and we should be thanking the basketball gods that we were able to get pick number 27 for trading D'Lo. We also got Brook Lopez, who's been hooping lately as well. So I honestly think we won that trade, and we won it by a large margin. Also, Kuzma's been attacking the boards lately. It's showing that fire in him, and he's also trying on defense. Kyle Kuzma will never be a great NBA defender. I just need to see him try. If you can hustle on defense, you're going to be insane. Right now, Lonzo Ball's stat line is 4 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. He's also 2-2 from the field, so yada, yada, yada. He can't shoot, blah, blah, blah. And like I said, will be interesting to see how Kyle Kuzma finishes this game against the Detroit Pistons, since he is a Michigan guy and we're playing in Michigan. His parents are also at the game, so shout out Kerry Kuzma as well. You're a hell of a follow on Twitter, and it's dope seeing how much you support your son and just everything else like that. Travis Ware knocked that down. Damn it. Like I said, this Laker team is just fun as hell to watch. We're on the up and up. We have a lot of talent, and we just have a lot of players that fit the system Luke Walton's trying to have, and that all starts with Ingram, Randle, Kuzma, and Lonzo. Anyways, thanks for listening. Make sure to follow the @ZoTime podcast on every social media platform besides Instagram. Lonzo just hit a step back mid-range. Whew! That shit was beautiful. Like, man, that play that he just made right now is just what he's going to need to do going forward. And go ahead and follow everything on the ZoTime podcast. Go to HoopsNBrews.com, get yourself some merch. Let me know when you do. And anyways, until the next time we speak, go Lakers. Go Lakers. Go Lakers. Go Lakers.